Okay, everybody, the next type of equation we're going to deal with are equations with variables on both sides of the equation. So, a couple steps here. Step one, distribute if necessary. Step two, combine like terms. Step three, collect variables on one side of the equation. So anything with an x in it, get it to one side of the equation, and collect constants on the other side of the equation. So get all your variables on one side, get all your constants or just your numbers on the other side. And then step 5, solve the equation. So using any of the strategies that we've used so far. Example 1, distribute if necessary. I don't see anything to distribute. Combine like terms. If I'm looking at both sides of my equation, on the left I have an x and a 7, can't combine. On the right I have an x and a 21, can't combine. So next I have to get all my variables to one side and all my numbers to the other. So I'm going to take my 4x, which is positive, and I'm going to subtract it to my other side of the equation. So on the left, 8x minus 4x is 4x. Then I'm just going to drop down my minus 7. I'm going to keep my equal sign. 4x minus 4x is 0. And then I'm going to drop down my positive 21. Now I have all of my x's on the left side of the equation. But I have to get all my numbers on the right side of the equation. So I have a minus 7. So I'm going to add 7. Those are going to cancel. 4x drops down. And 21 plus 7, 28. And then I just have to solve the equation. So 4x, the opposite of 4 times x, is divide by 4. 4's are going to cancel. 1x equals 28 divided by 4. I'm going to plug that in my calculator because I forgot. And x equals 7. Next example, distribute if necessary. I don't see anything to distribute. Then we're going to combine like terms. So if I look on the left, I don't see anything to combine. So I'm just going to keep my 14x plus 1. On the right, I notice that I have a negative 2 and I have a 15. So I'm just going to take my 8x, I'm going to pull it out front, and then I'm going to take my negative 2 and my 15, which a negative 2 plus 15 is a positive 13, and I'm going to combine those. Now I have to get all of my x's on one side, all of my numbers on the other. So I'm going to choose to subtract my 8x. And usually I always try to keep the variable positive. So I always take the smaller one. You had 14 x's on the left, 8 x's on the right, and I always usually try to take the smaller one and bring it over to the bigger one. That way my x remains positive. So what I mean by that is when I take 14x minus 8x, I think that's 6, I get a positive 6x. Okay, then drop down your plus 1 equals your 8x minus 8x canceled, and then you have a positive 13. Now we have to get our numbers to the other side. So the opposite of plus 1 is minus 1. 6x drops down. 13 minus 1 is 12. And then last but not least, divide by 6. And x equals 2. Last one. Distribute if necessary. I don't see anything to distribute. Combine like terms. So over on the left, I see a 53x plus an x. Keep in mind, if it's just an x, it really has a coefficient of 1. There's one x there. So 53 plus 1 is 54. 54x. Then I'm still going to bring down my positive 22 and then my equal sign. Over on the right-hand side, a negative 20 and a 60x will not combine together, so I'm just going to leave it as negative 20 plus 60x. Now, if you remember the conversation that we had before, I said I always try to keep my variable positive. So on the left, I have a 54x. On the right, I have a 60x. So 54x is smaller, so I'm going to minus my 54x and bring it over to my 60x, which is bigger. 54x minus 54x, 0. I still have a positive 22 equals. I'm going to bring down the negative 20, and then 60 minus 54 is a positive 6x. Now I have to get rid of my constant. My constant is a negative 20. Opposite of negative 20 is positive 20. So I'm going to add 20 to both sides. Negative 20 and positive 20 are going to cancel. 22 plus 20 is 42. And then 6x. And then last but not least, 6 times x, the opposite of multiplication is division. So we're going to divide both sides by 6. 42 divided by 6 is 7. So x equals 7.